Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I'm sure if you're watching this, you saw in the Google Classroom that we're not meeting in class today. So I just wanted to take a moment and record some information for you that might be helpful moving forward with your assignments. Because there's a couple of things we haven't really talked about yet that I'm getting questions on, and I just want to make sure everybody's feeling good about where we are. So I'm just going to walk you through first a little bit of information about the mock parent-teacher conference that's coming at the end of the semester. So as we've discussed in class, this is going to be a culmination of the case study that you're doing in your fieldwork classroom. So as we discussed, you have, I believe we have some sessions that you have to do and then some optional sessions if you have extra time. And then the idea is at the end of the semester, you pull all that together in a way that will allow you to facilitate a parent-teacher conference. So this is what we call an approximation of practice, meaning it approximates something that you're going to be doing in the field as a teacher. You're going to have parent-teacher conferences at least once a semester. And oftentimes they take on a very informal format. So sometimes you'll have things you have to present, and that'll be determined by the campus where you're teaching, as I'm sure you're learning right now. So this is just to kind of like practice that skill of talking to parents. So before I start going through the details, I want to make sure I clarify how this will be turned in. So if you look at our calendar here, that very last week, so MPTC is Mock Parent Teacher Conference. So right now I have the date as being due on May 2nd, or you can do it in person with me on the 6th or 7th. So what that means is that you're going to have two options for turning this into me. You can either pre-record it and basically talk to your camera as if it's me or the parent, and then turn that into me, or you can do it face to face. So we started doing the pre-recorded when we went virtual in 2020, and we found that for some students that just works a lot better for a variety of reasons. Some people feel like they can prepare more, they can be more successful that way. It's less nerve-wracking, whatever. And then sometimes it's as simple as like a scheduling thing. They just want to get it over with, whatever. And then for some students, the face-to-face is better because they feel like they can get a more authentic experience. They can think on their feet. And also, you have less preparation. Like with the recording, sometimes you can feel like you have to record over and over again until you get a good take. So it's totally up to you. I will have a sign-up sheet here once I have my schedule finalized. It'll just be linked in the syllabus, and we'll talk about that more in class. So you will either turn it in on Canvas, the recording, or you will meet with me face to face. You'll have those two options. You don't have to do both. You'll just do one or the other. So again, the goal of this mock parent teacher conference is to pull together everything you've learned in your case study. So this is just a general overview of the case study. We've gone over that in class. But I wanted to show you a couple more resources I have here. And so I'm in Canvas now. I'm under modules, okay? So I created a module here with a lot of information. For some reason, I couldn't attach that to the assignment part, so I just put it all here, but it's a lot of stuff. So the first thing I want to show you is the rubric. My rubric is like super loose. It's meant to be open enough that whatever your style is, you can be successful, if that makes sense. So this first page, this is really just to organize your thinking. You do not have to use it, but it's really just to help you think through some of the things that I'm going to be looking for. The second page is the very loose rubric I was talking about. So you can look at that as well. So you're really looking at, did it go great? I feel like really confident that my student is in good hands, all the way down to like, he basically didn't give me any information, which I've never encountered that really. So I feel sure that most of you will be prepared. I do want to say, so you'll notice throughout all of these materials that I'm really trying to emphasize a couple of different things. One really important thing is, as a parent myself of two kids, one in middle school, one in elementary school, the last thing I want at a parent-teacher conference is to come in and hear all of the things my student is doing wrong. Like they don't understand this, they don't understand that, right? Like we that's important for parents to know, but it certainly shouldn't be the focus of the parent-teacher conference, unless you have major concerns, right? So and in that case, you should have been in touch with the parent long before the parent-teacher conference. So one of the things that we look at is this thing called strengths-based noticing. So for example, if you were doing your, let's say your we're working on the problem solving interviews right now. So maybe they solved a problem in a unique way. Even if they didn't get the right answer, you could say to the parent, I thought it was really smart when the student did this, and you give a specific example and maybe show how they solved it. Okay, so it's just noticing those positive things that you can emphasize to the parent, keeping in mind you just have a few minutes with them. So we want to keep it positive. We want to keep it light. You don't need to communicate everything to a parent in the parent-teacher conference. This is just a snapshot. This is an overview. They just want to know how their child is doing. Okay. So on the actual assignments part, and then I'll go back to those other resources, you have also some additional information. So all of this is meant to kind of line up. It's just so you have it in several places. These are some questions to guide your thinking about like what questions, these are meant to be like questions the parent might have that you can answer, right? There's no way you can answer all of these. We only have 10 minutes or so. And so these are just ideas. So just as always, I like to give you a list of things to pick from, and you can decide what you think is the most important. So what have you learned about my child's interests? You can talk about that separately, or you can actually embed it in instruction, in the conference. So if you're saying like, we were working on addition and I noticed that he was struggling with this one concept where the start unknown value, but then I tied it into football because I know he really likes football and he understood that. So then the parent is not only seeing that you're trying to accommodate the student and address things based on their interest, but also it gives them ideas for how they can embed math at home. Okay. The activities at home, this is a really good one too, that parents like to hear from. So whether it's like, while you're cooking, are there ways you can embed certain concepts that you're going to be working on? Or if you're, are there ways you can count things at home, things like that. So anyway, all of these are just prompts to help you. All right, so let me go back to this module here. So that's kind of the overview and rubric. This is an example of just a PowerPoint that one of our instructors created as a Look What I Learned. So this is kind of like she framed it as look what the student learned. So she talked through kind of every single session that she did. This also, we've modified this since then, so y'all are doing fewer sessions, but you'll notice that she is focusing on what the student learned based on the sessions. And so you can read through this. This is just the PowerPoint version of the pre-recording, but I thought that was a nice little example, so I just included that. And then I have some examples here of pre-recordings. These have been, of course, I've asked permission from these students that I've had in the past to share these recordings. I'm not going to play them for you right here, but you can see, like, you can watch. I have 3 different examples of students who have done the pre-recording, just to give you an idea. And I think this can help both people that are going to pre-record and people that are going to do it face-to-face. But you can see it's about 8 to 10 minutes, it'll be the same either way. But just to give you an example of some different styles, they kind of all have different styles that they present the information. Okay, so the main things that I'm looking for, like you can see in the rubric, let me pull this back up again. I think I closed it. Are these like are we being positive? So we want to be positive. We want to make sure that we are touching on some important mathematical ideas. Even if you just talk about 2 things, like maybe there's like you're saying positive things. It was really smart when they did this. Here's something that I noticed that they have been working towards and they're not quite there yet. And then maybe, if you enjoy having the student in class, you can mention that as well. It's also okay to ask questions of the parent. I will do my best to play the part if we're face-to-face. If you're pre-recording, you can kind of like pretend to ask a question. All of that is good. I'm happy for you to be creative with this. But I do want it to be something where we're practicing noticing smart things that kids are doing in math. So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward. It's really hard for a parent to come in and just hear negative stuff about their kid, and that's it. And then also making sure that the things about the math content are clear. So again, even if you just cover a couple of things, but you cover them very clearly, that's really helpful to a parent. So That's really all I wanted to go over for the mock parent teacher conference. I hope this is helpful, and you can come back to it as you're preparing for that. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime, of course, and we'll continue talking about this in class as the semester progresses. All right, hope you all have a good day. Talk to you soon.